And as long as we carry it, Pete stays with us. And it's really important to remember the best of all of our experiences with him. Number two, I found that Pete was a thinker. He didn't follow the normal trends. He would think differently. He'd speak to me about things that are happening in the world, and regardless of what people were thinking, he'd always have his own opinion. He was someone who thought for himself, and he's very independent in that regard. And I think that was probably what led him to come to the mosque in the first place. Where everybody else was perhaps afraid, he'd be happy to just sit in there, observe, maybe not agree, but he'd always listen. And over time, he'd ask more and more questions. The third thing about Pete, so this Ramadan, which took place just a few months ago, on the first night of Ramadan, Pete and I were sat in a restaurant in Luton. And we were sharing stories, and he was telling me that he'd been fasting for the last number of years, 2 or 3 years. Most of this Ramadan he was fasting. And it was probably something that none of us knew. Probably just wouldn't have seen him out having a meal. But he was a very private person, somebody who would do things that he believed in himself. I was just looking through my messages just to see what the last words he said to me. And it's very interesting. We were actually due to be playing some tennis. I didn't know he was a tennis player until I said we're going to go to Cambridge to the mosque and they've got some nice tennis fields. And I've started picking up a racket, and he said, just wait till you see what we can do on the tennis court. So he sent me this message just a week or two before that. And it was a quote from Instagram. He'd often share messages with me. This particular one said, "Your soul and spirit never dies." And I responded and I said, that's the mindset of really successful people, that they can see beyond the norm. They can see beyond just the day and actually think, where's the sun come from in the first place? Who's bringing the sun up every day? Who's giving us oxygen to be able to breathe in? And he was one of those people, he'd always think deeper, and he always knew there was something beyond what we could perceive. So in our conversations, he would ask about the universe, he'd ask about where we came from, and he'd talk about this journey. Many of you may have partaken in putting some soil upon Peter's body. And when we do it in the Islamic practice, we actually say 3 phrases. And it was interesting because that Instagram quote was the same. What we say is, from this earth we were created. We've all been created. There was a point in time where we weren't. And to this earth we're going to return. And from this earth we will have another life. And it's very profound because now this isn't goodbye. In fact, this is just a temporary separation. Peter is going, we hope to, and we know from his good character, that it's going to be a better place than the one he was in. All of us are challenged in this life by different things. But Peter was somebody who always had a bigger vision. He knew there was something else. And we know that his journey begins from here onwards to a better place. He's going to be asked about how he lived his life, and truthful as he always was, he's going to say as it was. And because of his truthfulness, because of his fairness, because of his good character, he'll be rewarded based on that. In fact, the real challenge for us is, Peter is going to find a station in the next life, and our question is, are we going to reach that same station? Because we know through his good character, he was an example of someone that had great qualities. And we hope that we can live those same qualities, remember them, and take his inspiration onwards. I know many of us were affected just a few days before Peter left this world. He also was affected by the passing of Ali Shah. And he would share that and say, I can't believe it. Out in Pakistan, he passed away, and he was shocked by this. Peter was far younger than Ali. For each of us, we've got no idea when that day will come. But the important thing is to live a life that we'll be proud of. Live a life that we will also live up to his good character and good standard. And so in the next life, when we're asked about how we lived it, we'll have something positive to say. One last thing I'd like to say, it's a bit of a personal quip, but Peter used to love a biryani. At every story night, he would really enjoy the rice, the chicken, and the sweet dish as well. This would be his little cheat opportunity. I know he was a bit of a gym goer, but he'd always enjoy taking a bit of that. And we've prepared exactly that same meal at the mosque. We'd really appreciate if you could come join us. We've got more than enough food for everybody. Please do join us. It'd be great to hear your stories, your experiences with Pete, to remember him in our prayers. And the prophetic practice, the practice of Islam, is that we would always ask, oh Allah, forgive any of his shortcomings. We've all got shortcomings. We want to remember people by their best. And so most importantly, we should remember the best of his life and share that, and hope that people will share that about us as well. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, would encourage us to ask for his forgiveness, to ask God to have mercy upon him, and to raise him in stations in the next life, so that when we pass that barrier, Pete comes and finds us. Come on, I remember you. We spent good time together. Come, join me in my palace. So please do come and join us back at the mosque. We'll make it as short as possible. Thank you all very much for coming. I was really pleased to see. I did ask a few people saying, you have to get back. I know you got some time. They said, don't worry, John's here. We're covered. So long as John's here, it's okay. So we'll do our best to keep John as long as we can. So please do come and join us. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.